I'm happy and unhappy, and I'll explain why. Yes, I did argue that it was time for us to go beyond non-alignment to multi-alignment. My argument basically is that the geopolitical world is actually like the World Wide Web, in that we are no longer in binaries. The Cold War is over. We are in a networked world where countries are connected to each other for different purposes. I may be connected to you, you may be connected to her, but I may not be connected to her, and so on and so forth. So you've got multiple things. So I used a number of examples to underscore my point. India's foreign minister meets every year with the Russian and the Chinese counterparts in something called RIC. Then he adds the Brazilians and the South Africans and meets in BRICS. Then he subtracts the Russians and the Chinese and meets with the others in IBSA for South-South cooperation. Then he adds the Chinese but not the Russians to meet in BASIC for environmental negotiations. And this is not only because India has the great merit of its name beginning with that indispensable element in any acronym, a vowel, but also because we have a valuable contribution to make in each format, and we have something to gain from each format. Just as we are clamoring for a permanent seat in the Security Council amongst an elite group of 5 or 6 countries, and at the same time, we want to advance the questions of global cooperation in much larger groups. We lead the non-aligned movement, for example, though one could argue it's becoming less relevant, where we are railing against Western colonialism, but then we also join the community of democracies alongside the very Western powers we're criticizing in the non-aligned movement. We are a major power in the G77, which is the global trade union of developing countries, but we are also a member of the G20, which is the global management on macroeconomic questions, and so on and so forth. I can give you multiple examples. So I said, in this world, multi-alignment makes no sense. It didn't catch on when I said it as a minister. It didn't catch on when I said it in Pax Indica. But just this year, our Foreign Minister Jaishankar was gracious enough to use the word and to credit me for it. So I'm quite happy about that. Now, having said that, has India taken on enough of the sort of role? I think only partly. And one of the things that disappointed me greatly, and I've been quite outspoken on this, was our rather mealy-mouthed stand on the Russian invasion of Ukraine. I just thought that especially our initial statements, completely betrayed every principle we had stood for in world affairs for the last 7.5 decades. And though subsequently we corrected our statements, we still showed a great reluctance to take a stand. Whereas the UN Charter has been violated, the country has been invaded, force has been used, all of these atrocities have been committed, and we have stayed silent on it. It seems to me that we have let ourselves down. Equally, why are we clamoring for a permanent seat on the Security Council when even with a temporary seat we don't have the courage to express an opinion on a matter that shakes the world up?